Yo, good morning, gang. Trap here. Morning update. I'm supposed to get it out a little earlier, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We here now. All right. So listen, there's tons of stuff going on. Markets obviously woke up a little red today. Normal. The ceasefire is over. We haven't gotten a deal over there. There was a up and running, all time high. So like this profit taking, everything still looks somewhat normal. The S&P 500, everything's pretty flat. You know what I'm saying? Ethereum dropped 4%, Bitcoin 2.5%. The stock market is about 1. So nothing real crazy. A little bit of a correction though, that's for sure. So let's check out the charts here and see what's going on, right? And what's going on this week and what we should be watching for. Okay, so let's start off with the S&P 500. Obviously, let me get that going here for you guys. Boom. That is it right there. Let's get it going. Okay, this is the weekly here. Okay, so what are we looking at? Is we had new all-time high. So this was the old all-time high here. We're now a new all-time high. Peep where it is too, above the blue line. These blue lines are monthly formations, meaning that I placed them on the monthly formats, right? So that I'm looking at the weekly now, so they're much stronger, right? And so we actually broke above this one here. When we broke above this one here, we cruised around, came under it again, touched support on this yellow line, which is around 64.85. And then from there, we created a base. And the past 4 weeks, right, we have been going up only. And as of right now, even though the market's red, the weekly is still green, right? You see this last candle here? That's a green. That's a green weekly candle, right? So let's look at what it is looking like in the daily, right? So we go here to the 4 hours. Is the market? Why it looks closed? All right, so look, this is the daily on the 4 hour candle. Okay, so what we can see here, it's a clear, right, upward momentum. A little channel went up a little higher here, but we're back in that similar channel where it started from. So what am I watching here is I want to make sure that we can stay above this blue line, right? So if we stay above this blue line at 7,000, it's 187 points. That's positive. But what's short term, what I can see this week is the top of this break of structure candle right here. So I think that 71.59 will be revisited as a test to see how much we can hold. If that breaks, then we'll come test the bottom of it, which is around 70.99, which is 709 on the S&P 500. And then last area of support strong, it's a 70.83, which is that monthly blue line that I told you guys about, right? So this is what I'm looking at the S&P 500. That's what it looks like to me right now. Now, obviously, things can change based on negotiations, but as of right now, that's what we're looking at. Gold, right? We've been talking about gold for a little while now. Took some shorts on the gold the other day. And the thing with the gold is that we have been seeing it, if you guys can see here, right? There's some type of there was a little accumulation down here that brought the volume up, but that's gone now. So we created a new all-time high and we have dropped from there, and we have not gone there ever since January, right? So it's been a couple months now. We did push up here, got close to it, but rejected again, and then we went about 3 or 4 weeks red, 3 weeks green, and now we're starting red again. But look at what's important here is that there's the blue line again. Remember the blue line on monthly formations, right? So that blue line right now, we're interacting with it. We break under, we're gonna come retest this white line here at around 44.39, right? So we gotta watch it. And as you guys can see, it's the EMA is holding it here, right? So the red EMA, that's probably the 20. I think is the 20 EMA that is there. Let's see. Ooh, let's see. Yeah, that's the 20. So the 20 EMA, it's holding us right now. If we lose that, obviously we're going to come retest the second one here, okay? So the orange line is at play if we lose this, okay? Lose this 20, we'll come retest this. I believe it's a 50, right? So keep an eye on it. Obviously, if this breaks right here, we can look for shorts all the way up to 44.39. Might be a little bit too low, but if you look at the daily, right? If we look at the daily here, boom, the ranges for the dailies are as follows. I like to say that it started somewhere here, right? So this is the range that we got currently going on the daily, right? So I want to see gold stay above this bottom of this rectangle here, or lowest possible scenario will be 46.06, which is about 50 to 60 bucks drop from here. If we lose that area, then we got to start looking down here where we broke out from, right? So we broke out from this 44.39 area, came up, dropped it again, up again, down. And I want you guys to see that it has been interacting with that line, that these are EMAs as well. So it's kind of like running around in the EMAs, currently under right now. So maybe a little bit recovery is due here if we can hold this box. That's gold. All right, boom. Let's check out the Bitcoin, the bitty coins. So Bitcoin lately has been doing actually good, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Okay, we have 4 weeks that we have been in the green, steady, moving towards the next levels. Okay, that's a positive thing. Now, the negative thing is $80,000 is a very, very, very strong resistance. Okay, and we went very close to it, 79,500, and got rejected somehow, right? So here we did about 79,160, got stopped there, then we came back up here, and it seems like we're working our way up to this white line right here, which is the 81,000. I think that at 80 we'll find a really strong resistance, so we might see a little bit of a correction. Now, short term, okay, short term, if we do get a rejection here, this is the level we're gonna be, right? So between 70 and 80, that's the level, up and down. Now, if we lose these levels, right, the psychological 70 level, if we lose that 69.70, then we can see lower, like most people are saying online, but it's not going to be 15, 30,000 Bitcoin. Not that I think of. I think that the closest, lowest possible scenarios on the way down is 60 to 69, 70, right? Or 54, 55, around that area. Those are the bottoms that I'm expecting to form. If we get rejection here and we can't get above 80, we get above 80, now we're talking different story. We close above 80 on the weekly. Now we're talking, okay? Now we're talking higher numbers. We're talking come and rebuild for all-time highs and things like that. I don't think we're there yet, but there are some things that are pointing us there this year, right? Because even if we are in a bear market, which could be confirmed right now, it only tends to last about a year and a half. So that puts us at end of the year this year or early next year to be back having some decent liquidity. So with that said, this is the weekly for the Bitcoin. That's what I'm seeing right now. But if you're a day trader and you want to go down to the lower levels, right, this is what you want to do here. And over here, what are we seeing is, whoop, let me stretch it out. There we go. All right, so over here, what I'm seeing is very similar to the other ones, right? So we're actually hanging it right around the EMAs, right? This is why I love the EMAs, the only indicator that I usually have on my chart all the time, and obviously the breaker structure, because I'm addicted to that. So look, it just visually just makes so much sense. All right, so look, we have been messing around, right? We touch the EMAs, we go up, then we correct, and then we go up, and we correct, and we go up. So we have been hanging around between orange and yellow, with the exception here that we touched everything, because everything, the price crunched right here, which probably created this spike. But long story short, this is what I'm seeing here, right? We lost orange. Next one is blue, and then a light blue, and then dark blue. So we got to pay attention here, and that's what's going to dictate what happens next for Bitcoin, right? So I'm thinking here that we got something along the lines of this range right here. This is my current range. Boom. That's my range for Bitcoin, right? So I want to see it stay above this square, the rectangle. So above this area here of like 73, 74, 5, right? And then I wanted to stay above the middle of the trap line, which is above this breaker structure here, which is where initially where the move came from. So 76,500 higher. I wanted to see it. If we do lose 76,500, then I expect us to go test level 75, and then worst case scenario 73.5. Right? So that's what I'm expecting for Bitcoin. Let's keep an eye on it this week. Let's go ahead and check out Ethereum, my favorite stable coin. Who else loves this stable coin right here? People are laughing at me today because I was like, hey, listen, this stable coin is doing too much, right? So look, so Ethereum, oh my God, I was trading Ethereum here, so I got all these lines that are unnecessary for our trading. So let me remove them. Let me remove most of them. All right, perfect. All right, so boom, Ethereum price right now is holding above 2,200. which is a positive. But until we get above 2300, nothing happens, which is this area right here, 23 to 2400, right? The yellow lines are 24, but 23 to 2400 is realistically where I want to be in order for us to go see 25, then 26, 28, something like that, right? But as you guys can see, similar pattern to Bitcoin. We drop from here, few weeks red, couple weeks green, couple weeks red, and now we've been on a 4-week green streak on the Ethereum. Although I see a big rejection, just like I saw on 80, I see a big rejection between 23 and 2400 at Ethereum in that level somewhere, right? So if we break above, fantastic. We're going to go retest higher. But if not, then we might see a little bit lower Ethereum if Bitcoin tends to lose strength. You know, everything else goes down worse than Bitcoin. So that's the word. Now let's look at the lower time frames for Ethereum. Okay, so if you look at the lower time frames, Jesus, I got so many of these here. It's because I was trading the lower time frame for sure. All right, so right, this is what I see. Let's see here. All right, so boom, as you guys can see, we're playing around with the EMA lines, right? So they're here. So we lose them, we can come see a little bit lower, like 2000, something like that. But right now we're sitting at 2271. Let's keep an eye on this right here because we already breached this breaker structure, right? This breaker structure created this high and then created this sideways here. But now we just breached it, right? Right around here. Right when we lost this candle, we breached it. This changed the direction here that you see, the yellow. That's saying that it broke all these yellows up here, and now we're on this yellow. So that means that if we broke that yellow, the worst case scenario would be at around 2216, right? Which is the end of that candle, or the top of this other breaker structure at 2224. So that's what I'm watching for. A bounce around this area between 224 and higher, right? Or a continuation to the downside around 2000 for Ethereum. All right, so that's that. Let's take a look at the crypto total market cap. We haven't really looked at that in a while, right? So if you guys look at here, it has been a painful situation, right, in the past few months. So it started somewhere here, right, which is November, December, January, February, March, April. So April is literally hanging by a thread. We're going to close red for sure, right? But how red is the question. So are we going to be on top? We already broke this formation candle right here, which is a breaker structure, right? We broke the structure. So this structure was a breaker structure from the left side, created an upward momentum that gave us an all-time high. Now that broke down and we're getting a breaker structure right here. So that means that if we break under here, we're going to break this structure right here. We already broke this one, right? So that's cool. But it won't show here until we break this one. So soon we'll probably break here if we can continue. So I'm thinking 2 trillion is what we have to hold. Otherwise, we are in a little bit of trouble, right? We can come down here in this area. But that's what I had for the total crypto market right there. And then I'm gonna take a look at Solana too, because you know we got a lot of Solana lovers. I love it too, you know, why not? Solana is definitely a market top 5, you know, and it needs to be respected and traded and looked at current times. So this is the monthly, right? We're not gonna do the monthly today because we're doing short-term weekly analysis, but this is the weekly, okay? So now on the weekly, we're seeing a very similar pattern, right? Because they're the top 5, so you start to see that pattern form in when all the assets that are the biggest. So as you guys can see, we broke down from right here, okay? This was September, okay? September, we've been breaking down since September. So September all the way here, a little breather, then another September. But now, look at this. We have been steady. We created a very strong support at around $80 to $81 on Solana, right? So I'm not worried. If I'm longing Solana, my stop loss is going to be somewhere down there because of what I see here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 13 candles. That's 13 weeks that has been hanging around the same area with a strong support. That means there's plenty of buyers in that area, right? The bears cannot take it any lower. So that's a positive thing, and I like to see that for Solana. So that's for the weekly, right? So upwards, I want to see it at 98 to 100. Downside, 64 to 86. I don't think we'll get that far, obviously, but if we do lose this area, 82, we could go much lower. Just like Bitcoin and just like Ethereum mentioned earlier, okay? Ideally, we won't lose some of these levels, but you never know. You never know. So we got to just talk about and see where we will land if we do missed them. This right here is the daily, obviously on the 4-hour candles, right? And these are the ranges that I'm watching for this week, okay? So I'm gonna just create a little trap line here all the way to the bottom of that breaker structure right there, and that's your level, okay? So we just on the daily basis, we just lost the middle of the trap box, so we're going from premium to discounted, right? So we haven't been in discounted since this change of structure right here, and that is around April. So April, we know, created a new higher here, a local new higher 90, and then that didn't hold, came down, touched the bottom of that channel around 84. And that's what we're going next, man. So if we don't hold here, 84, it's already on the plate, right? So if we lose 84, we can go down to about 82 short term. So keep an eye on that. That's Solana for you. Other than that, we also have the Fed speaking this week, okay? So Jerome Powell is going to be speaking on Wednesdays. His last. Hello. Jerome Powell's last FOMO meeting. You feel me? That should be called FOMO, not FOMC. So last one, this is the last one before Wash comes in. He's going to take over May 15th, and I believe that's going to change a lot of the market. If we can end the war, get the new Fed in there, the liquidity is coming. I think it should be a very exciting summer, or even a quarter 3 and 4 this year, right? Because things are still looking a little bullish. Macro is just not in crypto. But that's pretty much it. That's all I had for you guys today. I hope that this helps. If you guys, like I said, if you guys have anything that you're looking at, always DM me, and let's stay aware. We did pretty well on the options last week. We got some things open. USAR. We have ZOM open, which we opened a couple weeks back, and pretty much, you know, it's been a good ride. We hit Intel, we hit Microsoft, but today a little bit of profit taking. That's normal. All right, so that's all I have for you guys. I hope that helps. Till next time, protect the bag. You already know, we stay trapping.